Coming up on Sports Sunday, we have a special guest. Brittany, you ready for this today?
I am so pumped up. Let's go, Art.
All right, I'm ready to have some fun. We'll be right with you.
Portland is the 18th team in Major League Soccer.
It's the City of Portland's championship.
It is great to be home.
Sports Sunday with Orlando Sanchez.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Sports Sunday. I'm Art Edwards. Orlando, he is still somewhere out there. I could fly solo, but you know what? This show is a whole lot more fun when you have some company. So we talked to an awful lot of people about coming in and helping out. When all of them said no, we turned to Brittany Falkers. Brittany, how you doing?
I am so pumped to be here. You know, I might be a little bit of the B team, but that brings me back to my soccer days. So I am ready and raring, Art. I am so pumped up to be here. And you know, I'm a huge Packers fan, but I'm going to try not to talk only about the Packers tonight.
Good. Okay.
No, all right, but wait a second. Where are you right now?
You know what? I'm on the road again. I'm in Tokyo, outside the Tokyo Dome, because there is a huge event going on. Night one of Wrestle Kingdom 15. Show's just a few hours away. I'm getting ready for it. Biggest pro wrestling show outside of the U.S. every year. This year, they said they were going to cap the ticket sales at about 20,000. But because of a spike in COVID-19 cases there, they forced them to end the ticket sales early. You know, last time they did this, they had 40,000 plus last year. Main event, a couple of guys I don't know anything about, but a whole lot of other people do. What's going to be going on with our show tonight?
Oh, you know, we have so much coming up. A great show for you. The Blazers look to make it back-to-back in wins in San Francisco. Rip City hoping that Dame and company would run over the Warriors with a trolley car. Plus, a big-time matchup in Eugene. The 8th-ranked Ducks put their winning streak on the line against the 11th-ranked UCLA. And it's a good time of year to think about your dental hygiene, right? New year, new resolutions. Well, in fact, one NFL star took some time out to floss today. It's got to be one of my favorite stories. But hey, we got to get to the start here with the final day of the NFL's regular season. The Seahawks chasing the Packers and Saints for the top spot in the NFC. And Art, Seattle needed a win and some help, too.
Yeah, they certainly did. The Seahawks on the road against the 49ers, playing the game in Arizona. Bright spot of the first half this past DK Metcalf. He sets a new single-season receiving yardage record for the Seahawks, over 1,200 yards this year. Seattle led this one 6-3 at the half. San Francisco took a lead when that was when Russell Wilson started to cook. Great play. He runs around. He finds Tyler Lockett for the score. Seattle trails at 16-12 at that point. Now in the fourth quarter, here's a play that could really be costly for the Seahawks. Jamal Adams, he's rushing and he gets bumped, he gets hit, and he injures his shoulder. Left the game. His status is uncertain for the next game. Seattle took the lead with just under 2.5 minutes left to play. Another Russell Wilson to Tyler Lockett touchdown pass. Lockett's 100th catch of the year. That's a team record. Seahawks lead at 19-16. They come back and complete the comeback. Final score 26-23.
We got a great challenge ahead of us to go back home. The great thing is we get to go back home. You know, and we got a team that we got to play in the Rams. That's going to be a really good football team, and they're going to be ready to play again. And we know that, so we got to get ready to roll.
All right, so they got the win that they needed. And did they get the help that they needed to maybe get that number one seed?
No, they didn't, Art. That's bad news for Seahawks fans, but it's fantastic for a Packer backer like me. I'm not going to rub it in, though. I'm not going to rub it in. The Packers took care of business against the Chicago Bears. Just another great day at the office for Aaron Rodgers. He had a perfect first half. Green Bay ran 21 plays and scored 21 points. Rodgers finished with 240 yards and 4 touchdowns in the 35-16 win over Chicago. The Packers earned the number 1 seed in NFC. They get a bye in the first round of the playoffs, and they won't play again until January 16th or 17th. A good setup for them. Now, the Saints also won, meaning the Seahawks are locked in as the number 3 seed. They're going to host a familiar rival next Saturday afternoon. The LA Rams come to town. Kickoff for that set for 1:40.
It's time now to check in with our Seattle Seahawks insider Joe Fann from NBC Sports Northwest. Joe, good to see you again this weekend.
Art, great to see you. Happy New Year, man. I appreciate you having me again.
Hey, thanks. Same to you. You know what? The Seahawks really wanted to get this win, a good way to end the regular season, but it was not an easy prospect for them. What did you take away from this?
Well, it's the second straight week the offense has started slow, and just 6 points in the first half, again for a second straight week, and they didn't come alive and find the end zone until the fourth quarter. 3 straight touchdown drives, erasing a deficit and coming back and beating the Niners. It always feels good to beat a division rival, but it did come at a cost. Jamal Adams and Jaron Reed suffering second half injuries. Both of those guys may not play now against the Rams in the wild card round. We'll have to wait and see what happens next week with both of those guys, but troublesome for sure, and ultimately a win that didn't mean a whole lot other than sentiment, with the Saints and Packers both winning on Sunday and keeping the top 2 seeds, and the Seahawks sticking with that 3rd spot in the NFC.
Let's talk a little bit about the offense again, because for the second week in a row, they kind of struggle in the second half. They don't get a whole lot going. In the beginning of the year, it was the offense that was carrying things. Any concern there about how they've looked over the last couple of weeks?
I think there is concern, and this is why. The numbers were going to dip a bit. They were historic, paces earlier in the season, and they were playing some pretty bad defenses. And so when they played some great defenses like Washington, like the Niners, like the Rams, those are all top 10 defenses, in some cases top 5. The numbers aren't going to be as gaudy. But what concerns you is that the deep ball is gone. The explosive pass plays haven't been there in recent weeks. And they're also struggling to convert on third downs, just 4 of 12. And that's with a little spurt of success in the fourth quarter. That's just not going to cut it. It's really hard to imagine them having success consistently offensively in the postseason, especially against, again, another good Rams defense that they know well. The Rams know them well. If you can't either convert on third down consistently or find the explosives. It'll be just a 2-week span with 2 matchups. And so, or a 3-week span with 2 matchups. And so it's a bit odd in that sense, but how well these teams know each other. And there are things that the Seahawks do that give the Rams fits, but the Rams are largely, match up really well with Seattle.
Joe, thanks a lot for spending some time with us. We appreciate it, and we'll see you again next week.
Amen to that. You got 3 games Saturday, 3 games Sunday with that 7 seed now. It's going to be a wild weekend, so looking forward to it. I appreciate you, Art.
All right, now it's time to head around the NFL, driven by Hyundai. Those LA Rams had to win today against the Cardinals to make the playoffs, and both teams had banged-up quarterbacks. Cardinal backup Chris Streveler with a costly interception at the end of the first half. The pick 6 by Troy Hill put the Rams on top, and they never looked back. Rams backup John Wolford played a steady game in place of the injured Jared Goff. Now, the Rams win and move on into the playoffs as a wild card team. The Cardinals miss the playoffs for the 5th straight season.
Let's head across the country to Cleveland. The Browns needing a win to end the league's longest playoff drought. This was the first down late in the game that sealed the win for the Cleveland Browns. They beat Pittsburgh 24-22 to earn their first playoff spot since 2002. Nick Chubb powered the offense in this one, and the Browns had just enough to get the win. They finished the regular season at 11-5, and they earned that wild card spot. Good feeling for Baker Mayfield.
The feeling of walking off the field, the energy in the stadium, they're playing Cleveland Rocks. There's an old school video going on, and I can look up and see old school highlights. We got Brian Sipe, Bernie Kosar, some old schoolers on there. It's just, and for it to be that loud with a limited amount of fans, it's a special moment for us.
The last time the Browns made it into the playoffs, The Lord of the Rings was the Two Towers. That was the #1 movie at the box office.
It's crazy, Art. Our producer, Craig, doesn't want me to say this, but I was in 8th grade the last time that the Browns did that.
Yeah, I was 20 years into my career working in Detroit.
That's why I learned from the best, like you, Art. Well, hey, let's finish up our trip around the NFL with a trip to Houston and a battle between the Titans and the Texans. This was a wild game, but it was really about the Titans' Derrick Henry. He broke loose for 250 yards and 2 touchdowns. He went over the 2,000-yard mark for the season. The Titans kicked a last-second field goal to win it, 41-38. The Titans finished the season 11-5 and win the NFC South. Titans host Baltimore next Sunday in the wild card round. And it's time to take another trip around the NFL, this time for our heroes and our zeros. All right. I see that. I see what you did there. Well, let's check out those players and teams with the good weeks and those with, well, not so good weeks, right? The Chargers' Justin Herbert is our first hero. The former Oregon Duck had a monster game to end the season, threw for over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. He has rookie records for total TDs, touchdown passes, completions, 300-yard passing games, multi-TD passing games, and 3 touchdown passing games. Almost out of breath there. He ended 39 yards short of the passing yards record. Chargers beat the Chiefs 38-21. He has been a joy to watch this season.
Yes, he has been. Man, big-time star. Hey, our next hero this weekend is Lamar Jackson. That guy right there, he can really run. Jackson became the first quarterback in NFL history to record multiple 1,000-yard rushing seasons. The Ravens clinched a wild card berth with their 5th straight win. They routed the Cincinnati Bengals 38-3.
Well, Vikings rookie, another Packers rival there. Wide receiver Justin Jefferson made history. This is pretty awesome, and I can even say that being a Packers fan. Jefferson needed 111 yards today to set a new Super Bowl-era rookie record. He got 133 yards in Minnesota's 37-35 victory to give him 1,400 yards receiving for the season and the new record. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that is amazing. Hey, our first zero for the week, we're going to call it the Miami Dolphins. They needed a win over the Bills to have a playoff shot. Not only did they lose, but it wasn't even close. Buffalo rolls 56-26. The Dolphins enter the week with the #1 scoring defense in the league, if you can believe that. They are the only #1 scoring defense since 1970 to allow more than 50 points in a game. Whew. They're going to be staying home for the playoffs.
Yeah. Well, we can't have zeros without the New York Jets, right? They made the firing of head coach Adam Gase official. Jets lost to the Patriots today 28-14 to finish the year with 2 wins. In 2 seasons under Gase, the Jets went 9-23. That's brutal.
Saw that coming from like about the midway point of the season. Ooh.
It's always tough. It's always tough when you can see really early on in the season how things might end up in the end.
Absolutely. Hey, still to come, we have a whole lot more. Blazers finish off their road trip with a second straight game in San Francisco. Was it different this year? Could they get it done in the Bay Area? Plus, sorry, Duck fans, it was not the Fiesta Bowl that you wanted. The big changes program has already seen today. Welcome back, everyone. The Portland Trail Blazers finishing up a 4-game road trip to California tonight. 2nd game in a row against the Golden State Warriors. Steph Curry, he was on fire for the Warriors tonight. He went for 31 points in the first half. Warriors forged a double-digit lead at the half. Now, the Blazers did make a run in the second half of this ballgame. Damian Lillard, those trademark deep threes, well, he hit a couple of them back-to-back to pull the Blazers much closer in this game. He finished with 32 for the game. Now, Portland got to within 7 points in the fourth quarter, but they couldn't pull through because Steph Curry had a career night. He scored 62 points, most he's ever scored in the game. That's also the most in the league this year. Warriors even the score with Portland with a 137-122 win. Both teams are 3-3 in the Western Conference. Blazers come home for a short homestand that starts Tuesday night against the Chicago Bulls.
Well, newsflash here, Carmelo Anthony has had an amazing NBA career, right? He reached another milestone last week. With this shot in the fourth quarter of Friday's game against Golden State, Anthony took over the 14th spot on the all-time NBA scoring list. He passed Tim Duncan. Anthony has 26,499 points and is still going strong.
For me to be right there with him and pass him, and I'm still going, so that's an honor for me. That's a blessing for me to say that I can pass somebody like Tim Duncan, but also continue to do and play the game that I love.
And Rose City loves to have him. Now, Anthony wasn't the only Blazer to reach a milestone in Friday's game. Damian Lillard scored 34 points and passed the 15,000-point mark. He's the 141st NBA player to reach that mark. Way to go.
Well, the Oregon Ducks football season came to a very disappointing end on Saturday at the Fiesta Bowl. The Ducks, well, they fell to Iowa State. Cyclones set the tone on the first drive of the game. They chewed up 7.5 minutes and then scored a short touchdown to open up the scoring in the ballgame. Now, the Ducks were able to keep pace for a while, at least, until late in the second quarter. It was tied at 14 when the Ducks ran into some trouble. This is the score that tied the game up at 7-7. Iowa State scored a little bit later on to go up 21-14. And then they used a short kickoff, and the Ducks couldn't field it. Iowa State recovered it. That was one of two special teams miscues for the Ducks. Iowa State went on to score a touchdown right there and took a 28-17 lead at the half. Iowa State held the ball for over 40 minutes in the ball game. Oregon just had the ball for 17 minutes. Despite the 34-7, despite the loss, the Ducks are looking to the future.
We've started to build a culture here that means something, and we know games like this are the games we want to be in, and we of course want to win these games. So just looking forward to right as we get back, fourth quarter program, getting back to the basics and the fundamentals of things, and just using this as something that we can use in the future, just as basically fuel for the next year, and just to keep going and keep getting better.
Well, one guy who's not going to be back with the Ducks is defensive back Deommodore Lenoir. He's taking his talents on to the NFL. Now, Lenoir had originally opted out for this season, and then he changed his mind after the Pac-12 said that they would be playing football this season. Had a really solid, strong season, but this is it. He's going to move on to the next level. Well, still to come, the Oregon Ducks look to stay undefeated on the basketball floor, but in their way tonight, a very tough team from Los Angeles. Could the Ducks pass this test in Eugene?
Four-man rush. Fields has time. Launches downfield. It's Olave. He's got a touchdown. Ohio State.
Ooh, that was Ohio State quarterback Justin Fields connecting on a long scoring strike against Clemson. Fields threw 6 touchdown passes, and the Buckeyes thrashed Clemson. That sets up a championship game clash with Alabama on January 11th, and that's your Toyota Sunday Sizzle.
Well, the win streak is over for the Oregon Ducks women's basketball team. They battled with an experienced UCLA squad right to the end. UCLA twice had double-digit leads in this one, but the Ducks fought back. Game tied at 71. The All-America player for UCLA had the game of her life. She followed her own miss and scored what would be the game-winning bucket. Each team turned the ball over in the final 30 seconds. Oregon falls to number 11 UCLA 73-71. First loss in 28 games. Doesn't get any easier for the Ducks. They hit the road for a game against number 1 Stanford on Friday. We'll be right back.
You know, we mentioned earlier in the show the Bills had no problems with the Dolphins today. So, star wide receiver Stephon Diggs turned to other important matters like dental hygiene. Yeah, check this out. Cameras caught him flossing. Not the dancing, but the actual thing dentists tell you to do. This is OG flossing by Diggs there. I love that art, and I've loved hanging out with you. This has been so much fun.
Well, thanks for hanging with me. I had a great time today. You know what? Time to get out of here. We're going to leave you with the plays of the week.